All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 2020 Virtual Tech and Treats here at MCTV. I'm Jonathan Grabowski. I'm the Executive Director here at MCTV. I will be taking you through social media. So the discussion tonight is using social media to promote your content. And so this is going dedicated to producers, people that produce content that are looking for ways to promote their content. We live in such a digital world. We want to teach you the way to get your content to an even further audience than just people that know what time you're on, or have the channel programming guide right in front of them. So this is to teach you about some of the social media platforms that you can use to promote content and why they're so important. So I'm going to share my screen with you all here. And we'll jump into the presentation. Great. So as stated, this is called using social media to promote your content. And if you didn't catch this live, we're going to have this up on our social media platforms and on our YouTube page. So you can check this out anytime you want. And if you have any questions, you can, feel free to ask away. Also, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat bar, and we will get some after the presentation. So first off, why social media? A lot of things. First off, it allows you to interact with viewers. You can create a dialogue with your viewership. Instead of hearing from viewers if they call in or you see them on the street or whatever, you can create a real-time dialogue with them, which is amazing. Also, reputation management. You have a big say in how your brand is perceived in social media, and also allows you to control the narrative in regards to what people are saying and thinking about you. You through social media and creating your own social media accounts for your content, it gives you a lot of ability to control the conversations around your content. Also, it's inexpensive. Facebook, Instagram, those things are free. And so really great, cheap way to promote your content, get your name out there to a further audience. You can't beat free in that regard. Also, it has a global reach. Social media has no borders. I'll give you an example. So recently, MCTV did the MHS graduation. We put it on Facebook Live, and it was seen in multiple countries. That's a global reach, which is really impressive. Social media allows you also to increase your awareness, increase the awareness that you have in the community, in the genre or topic that you're doing with your content, and allows you to create a larger audience. Social media allows you to promote your content. Something that we'll talk about later on is that it allows you to say, hey, here's what I have upcoming on my show this week, or here's what we have going on down the road. You can give people sneak peeks and previews to stuff you have coming on. As we mentioned also earlier, engage with your audience. Allows you to kind of get feedback from your audience. You can see what they like, what they don't like, their thoughts and opinions on things that you can use in content that you produce for your show. It's also great is you get to learn more about your viewers. You get to see who they are, what they do, maybe what their occupations are, all that sort of stuff. You can see what they like, what they don't like. You get to get a real grasp of what your viewership is through social media, and they're following you and engaging with you. And also, it grows your base. You can just have your show, but then having social media allows you to promote that content, get that content out there further, which then develops your base and makes it grow even further. So a few fun facts about social media. So over 3 billion people, and that's billion with a B, are active on social media. They're on some sort of social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, whatever. 2/3 of US adults are Facebook users. It just shows you how many people are on Facebook. You have teenagers on Facebook, you have people in their 80s on Facebook. It's a great way of connecting people. And looking from the marketing side, over 70% of marketers believe social media marketing is somewhat effective or very effective for a business. Think of your content as a brand, as a business. That statistic works really well in that it's effective or very effective in promoting your content. And then also 70% of consumers have a positive experience with a brand on social media, are likely to recommend that brand to their friends and family. So if someone sees something that you're doing on social media, they're going to share it and promote it and talk about it with people with their friends and family, saying, hey, check this out. You may like this. I saw this as well. I saw this. So it allows people to, see your content, but also lets them easily access it instead of being like in the past, you'd have to mail something or word of mouth. You can just click a button and share it with someone else to say, hey, I saw this and I was thinking of you. It might be up your alley. So today's focus is going to be on the big three. Facebook, which you see on the left, Twitter in the middle, the bird, and Instagram on the right. And I'm going to jump on my screen for a minute. MCTV has these types of accounts. So we're going to jump into our Facebook page that we have, and we'll get more into Facebook, what it is and how to use it. We use it for a wide variety of things. We use it to promote events such as our Tech and Treats, which you see right now. We post photos. We use it for programming. So if there's news stories that we're getting out there, it's a great way to get our news content out. As I mentioned, we use Facebook Live as well. We can kind of use it to promote events. For example, graduation right here. One of the big keys with graduations here was they were limiting the attendance. And so we needed to work to promote where it was so people not only in Marshall, but across the country could watch it. So we use it for promotion. Here's what's coming up. Twitter, we also use. You can find us at Marshall TV. And we use it for quicker type things. We use it for news as well to get that, news short period thing that will only last a certain period of time out there. We use it for news events. We use it for public information, which has been huge during COVID-19. The towns use this as a resource to get information out there to the community. You see a little bit of that. Events, here's what's coming up. Maybe a few photos here and there, but very newsy oriented. And then finally, we have our Instagram, which we call the Pretty Picture Place. We use it to promote content, but also in a visually pleasing way. For many that are familiar with education, a lot of people learn different ways and absorb things different ways. Instagram is definitely for the visual learner, where it's very, very image-based. So when we do put content on Instagram, we make sure it's really high quality images that kind of help tell the story along with the captions that go with it. We'll jump over here. So we're going to start with the big kahuna of the bunch, Facebook. So creating a Facebook account for your show. So creating a Facebook account for your program. First off, it allows you to post information about your program. You can post pictures of upcoming guests or past guests. It allows you to do clips and sneak peeks, segments of video. Instead, you can also post your entire show on Facebook, but also you could post a portion of a show. Say you do an hour-long show and you have a 5-minute part of your show that was really good. You can edit that down and post that to Facebook and say, hey, here's what we discussed about topic X on our last episode. Also, what's great about Facebook too is that it creates the dialogue, the viewership. People can like what you're posting. They can comment on what you're posting. They can share what you're posting. So those items do create that dialogue. So in regards to searching around for seeing what other community media producers across the country are doing, reached out to a lot of my colleagues and said, hey, who are some producers or content people they have that are using Facebook to promote their content? So, we'll go back. So we're going to look at a couple right here. So this is McGold Riffs. So this is a music television show. They use it to show clips from the show, their episodes, saying like, hey, check out the best jams I had. They do a lot of photos with previous guests, etc., so on. So it's a lot of very, video driven, thanking previous guests, check this out. So this producer also uses it very much as like almost an on-demand page where you can, catch the most recent show on there. So we have that one. We have the Oregon Traveling Historian. This one I really liked. So we have Daryl Jabin here, who's Oregon's traveling historian. And so he's going around the state of Oregon and doing very much historical things. So he's promoting events. He's doing Facebook posts on, places that he finds and writing, a little bit about them. So about this place here, 7 miles south of downtown Portland, doing it all about various stops and giving tidbits of information and background. So that's what he's doing. And he's also creating a show about it. So as you can see, his Facebook postings are very image driven with places he's going to and history about them. Then we have, let's see, Songwriter Spotlight. So it's another producer that uses it more for on-demand type stuff or clips from shows. So this comes out of East Hampton Media in the central part of the state. So they're using it as a way to kind of show off, hey, here's who we've had going on the show, check out our previous episode. In here, he's using it as to say, hey, 5 p.m. Monday to Wednesday on channel 199, you can check out this show. So he's also using it not only to just post old programming, but to say, hey, here's where you can find the show on the TV channels. And the last one is, this is a cool one, things to do in Plymouth. One of the trends that I've noticed looking at people that produce community media and are using Facebook is that, there's a mutual thing in that they have a business or it's very business related. So in talking with the folks down at PAC TV, this person produces a show. And also they do a directory of Plymouth's best events, other things, places to go. So it's almost like a destination Plymouth sort of thing. And they use the show to promote, businesses and events. And they use the social and the Facebook serves as the tie-in. Here's what's going on. They'll show clips from their show, etc. Images, our local calendar. Here's an event that's going on. So they use it for a wide variety of items, their Facebook. And we'll jump back into presentation. So how to create a Facebook page. Now, for those that haven't created a Facebook page, it's really, really simple. You may have a personal page. I'd recommend creating a separate page for your show in order to just keep things organized. Don't mix things up. I'll give you a great example of this. So we recently did our podcast, Let's Talk Business, with Ashley Mason, who is the CEO of Dash Social. And one of the questions I asked her is, what's one of the issues that you always run into as a person that handles social media for companies? And she said people combine their business and their personal social media Facebook pages. They don't create separate ones. So we highly recommend that you create a separate Facebook page for your show. You may not want everyone who follows your show to see what's on your personal Facebook page. A lot of clutter and a lot of disorganization, and you want to separate the two. So when you create your Facebook page, you want to show your name and you want to have a description. So the title of your show and a description of what the show is about, kind of that brief summary. You want to add a profile photo and a cover photo to your show. So your profile could be the show logo. If you have a show logo, that's the place to put it. A cover photo, it could be a scene from your show, an image of you doing a great interview, or you on a great location shoot. That's where your cover photo could be. It's also important in order for people to find you and engage with you is fill out your page completely. You want to add a description, of course, description of your show. You want to fill out the categories. So Facebook allows you to have categories for your show. So make sure the categories for your show fit and they're easily searchable. And also contact info. One of the things you might want to do if you want people to engage with you is put some contact info up. Maybe creating an email for your show that people can find. You can always set up a Gmail account or something similar. So if people want to reach out to you, directly and just now on Facebook, they can email you. Another critical thing is create a custom username for your Facebook page. So it's not facebook.com slash, and it's a bunch of alphabet soup of letters and numbers. Facebook lets you create custom addresses, so it's easily, searchable, and people can type it in fairly quickly. So for example, in the case of MCTV, our Facebook page is facebook.com/Marshfield Community Television. One thing also to be careful of is that sometimes people might have the same name as your content or the Facebook page you're trying to create. For example, there's a couple of Marshfield Community Televisions out there in the world. There's one in Wisconsin. So when you're doing it, see what's out there and and create a name that's that fits yours, but also won't be confused with anyone else's. So that's one thing to be careful of. Another thing I talked about earlier when we were talking graduation was Facebook Live. And this is something that we've been using a bit more at MCTV, as it's a great way to get content out there to the community in live. So it's stuff that, maybe we're not running it on the channels, or maybe it's also being simulcast on our channels. But it allows us to create a larger audience. So a great example of this is that we used it for graduation. We also used Facebook Live for the senior drive-by salute. So one of our, Kayla, our social media and marketing manager, went out there and had her phone and was going Facebook Live as all the seniors drove by and were saluted. So we've been using Facebook Live a lot more over the past year, and it's something that you can use to supplement your content. If you want to do behind the scenes of something that you have going on, Facebook Live is great. If you're doing a live show and you want to maybe try to create more of an audience, use Facebook Live. It's very easy to use. If you ever want to learn more about it, you can come down to MCTV and we can show you kind of how we do some of the things that we do through Facebook Live and using open source software, which is fairly simple to, not too complex to use, but it does take a little work. So on to the Instagrams, as I like to call it, plural. I don't know why. So the big question is why. So you got to put a face to your brain. You got to link up who's the person behind the brain. You can boost exposure. You're in a visual field if you're doing television production. So why not, use Instagram to help, promote your content. You can tell interesting stories. As they like to say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And what's great about Instagram is you can kind of tell the story behind those images as well. Also connect with others. Instagram really has a younger base, probably more than Facebook, I would say. So it allows you to connect with a different type of audience. Creating a profile for Instagram is really, really simple. Probably one of the easiest things to set up a profile for. And then in regards to posting, the question you want to ask yourself is, what type of user are you? Are you a quantity user or are you a quality user? And you can be both, but it seems like a lot of people are on either side of that. So if you're a quantity user, it means you're posting as Instagram consistently. You have, you're posting almost every day or every other day, and you have multiple things. And then there's other people, MCTVs like that. Personally, I'm like that, is that you're going quality. You're not posting every single thing every single day, but you're posting something maybe once or twice a week, and it's of real high quality images. When we created our social media policy at MCTV, one of the things was when we did Instagram, the visual quality of the images we were posting had to be high. We didn't want to just post anything, but we wanted to post really high quality stuff. And that's something that you may want to consider when you start using Instagram. Good example of a content producer who uses Instagram. We found Daisy's Divas. And this was really cool. I really enjoyed looking at her Instagram page. So this is a woman who really got in, I believe she's in the real estate business, but she does a show about, making, women empowerment, women in business, making a difference. So she uses it for a few different things. She kind of almost blends the line of personal and the content professional, because she's very much building a brand. It seems like Daisy is her brand. She's her own brand. So she posts a lot of stuff about her story, the places she goes, the people she works with. She posts a few show images here and there. So it's all about the Daisy, the Daisy brand. Really cool Instagram page. A lot of great images, some good stories behind them too. So really good example of a content producer who was actually able to kind of combine the personal and the professional and create this, brand for themselves to use on social media. And Twitter. So Twitter is a place to meet people. It's almost like speed dating in a way, if you want to think about it. It's very person to person, very direct, very person to person. It's not, you're not throwing yourself out there in a way, but it's very distinct. It's a news and information network. It's very quick. I believe the life of a tweet is extremely, extremely short. So it's very much about quick information. We gotta get out there. It's very news. As you know, there's limited characters in Twitter. So it's very that brief, quick news thing that you want to get out there. When you set up your Twitter, make sure you choose an appropriate name, something that's related to your program, which is very critical. And it's similar to Facebook. You want to create a brand specific profile. So if you have a personal Twitter, I would recommend that you create a Twitter for your content, for your show. So you're able to kind of promote your content separately. What's great too is that you can use your personal brand to also retweet stuff in your, et cetera. So you can kind of swap between the two. Twitter is great because it allows you to interact and respond with people really quick and directly. Recommendations are to keep your tweets short. Don't want to go on long marathons for social media, especially in Twitter. To build the brand on Twitter, you also want to follow relevant users. So depending on the type of show you're producing, you want to follow people that are very much in that playing field. So if you're doing a show on, let's just say, fishing, the people that you kind of want to follow to help build your brand are, fishing related organizations, companies, fishing people, I would say. So you want to kind of, follow people that are specific to the stuff that you're doing. Hashtags and like tweets, and we'll talk a little bit more about hashtags in a little bit, but using those helps build your profile. It's very critical in regards to, in Twitter, people search by hashtag. So what they'll do is they'll search by the hashtag and your tweets will come up if you're using that certain hashtag. And if you like tweets, the algorithm will show up that, hey, these people have similar interests and connections due to likes. So some tips and notes on social media. So when posting video, our recommendation is get to the meat of it. Try to go short, as people want to kind of get to what you're getting at. As we saw, some people post, full-length episodes, which is great, but for high impact, you really want to post shorter stuff. And if you have the opportunity to say, hey, we got a great 5-minute segment on this past show, edit that out and post that to Facebook. Because sometimes people might miss out on that if they're gonna click on the whole 60-minute episode. Connect with others who have a following to grow your following. So that's something important too. So if someone has a massive following, connect with them and you can work to develop a following based off of that person. Develop a strategy. So develop a strategy for each social media platform. Kind of the one big thing you don't want to do with social media is post the same exact things on every single platform. So granted, there is going to be crossover due to different audiences, and sometimes information is very important that you have to get it out and you have to reach everyone as possible, but you don't want to post the same exact thing. Develop a strategy. So you can say, hey, we're going to promote things this way on Instagram, or we're going to promote things this way on Facebook and this way on Twitter. So develop a strategy so they're not exactly the same thing. What else do we have here? Hashtags. Hashtags are a big one. They can connect you with a certain topic or theme. They increase engagement with followers and make your post viable in a conversation. So that's going to lead to more followers, likes, reposts using those hashtags. They also allow you to build a brand by driving the conversation. A good example of this is last year, Toronto Raptors win the NBA title. They started using the hashtag during the playoffs, hashtag We the North. A lot of people in Canada got behind it, and they were using it for a lot of things. A lot of Canadian pride came through that hashtag, We the North. So that it started as a small thing for the Raptors and grew into a larger thing. Hashtags also, it's a simple way to contextualize what you're talking about. Because you only have so much text you can put in a social media post. A good example of this too is a lot of Massachusetts political stuff. There is a hashtag for mass politics. I believe it's MA Poly. So you'll see that a lot, and you can search by that pretty easily. And also related to that, hashtags help you find that target audience. So if you're for example, MA Poly, if you're very political driven, using that hashtag will get you, will help you acquire that target audience. Tagging. So tagging is very similar. So if you see that @ thing on a lot of social media platforms, that's called tagging. So tagging refers to a social media handle or a username of a person, of a business, et cetera. And tagging can be done on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So when you tag a person, you're identifying them and you're linking them to your post. So they're getting directly connected to that, social media post that you're putting out there. So tagging, what it does is it's going to increase engagements because you're actually directly hitting someone with that. It allows you to potentially straighten partnerships. So a good example is when we do stuff at MCTV, we work with some community organization, whether it be Alice's House or Father Bill's. When we post about that on Facebook, we're directly tagging that organization. So they're being seen, they're getting connected to it. They may be liking it, sharing it with their base, and it helps draw people to helps draw their audience to us and creates a new audience. Also acknowledges contributions. So a lot of times you'll see this on a lot of Facebook posts or other types of posting. You're thanking someone for coming on your show or business for coming on your show. You can say, thank you at business for coming on and talking about this. And so they may see that, they may share it, they may like it, they may comment on it. And once again, it develops a larger audience for you. So let us know if you have a social media account for your program. One of the things that we want to do here at MCTV is help you promote your content. And the way we can do that is help you, create social media accounts. And once you have them, let us know what they are so we can share it with you. We can help you promote content. We can connect with you to help you build a larger audience for yourself. So with that being that, let me jump out of here. So that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Tech and Treats tonight here. As I mentioned, this will be posted online, so you can watch us anytime. And as always, if you have any questions or want to learn more, or you need to sit down with us to help create a social media account, give us a call, come on in. We will work with you because we want to help you get you to promote your content. So thanks for coming. We will see you next time.